Yes, love Fridays. Who doesn't? Even people who work Saturday love Fridays. I don't know what it is. There's something that's built into us, I guess. It's something to look forward to. President is out and about and visiting right now North Carolina. And what should be noted, interestingly enough, and I think it's great, is that Melania is with him, which flies in the face of all the stories the people who don't like Trump have out there regarding their relationship and everything else. But anyway, he's in North Carolina looking at hurricane damage that was ignored and not well taken care of. And he's listing FEMA failures and wanting to get rid of FEMA. One thing he talked about was states handling their own disasters. Now, I don't think he means without federal money, because states couldn't do it. But I think he means without federal interference with people from FEMA, for example, who may have never even been there before, and they come in and they're confused and they don't know what to do, and there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape and other stuff. So we'll be watching that. Dave Dulio is here. He's the director of the Center for Civic Engagement and Political Science at Oakland University. Professor Dulio is here to weigh in on a couple of stories, whatever he wants, really, but also Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth faces confirmation. I think it's do or die today. We already know about 2 Republicans saying they will not vote for him. Professor Dulio, always a pleasure. Welcome back.
Good afternoon, Paul W. Thanks for having me.
Am I understanding this correctly? You know, the Democrats, and look, I don't care if you're a Democrat, a liberal, an independent, or a Republican, but please be honest with yourself. And let's honestly look at what the Democrats are doing currently. It's not helping America by delaying. Look, if they want to get rid of somebody or don't want Hegseth or whatever, by putting these 30 hours, I don't know, you can explain it better, Dave, but, you know, they're just making it all be dragged out to try to keep the president from having his own cabinet. And it's ridiculous. It's exactly, frankly, what Mayor Duggan said, not about this, I'm not putting words in his mouth, but he said he's running as an independent because there's too much us against them in the Democrat and Republican parties. And he's right.
Well, I think you can point to many examples where that is absolutely the case. And as you know, Paul W., the Senate right now is doing its constitutional duty of providing advice and consent to presidential nominations. And these folks are going through that confirmation process. But that advice and consent process looks much, much different today than it did years ago or than it was ever intended, because the Senate has adopted any number of rules and procedures over time that permit this process to be dragged out, as you note, right? They got over the last procedural hurdle in breaking the filibuster, and invoking a motion called cloture. There's some real inside baseball for you. But you're right, that does bring about an additional 30 hours of debate. And what it does is allow senators to grandstand and try to score political points when, as you rightly note, the outcome is all but known.
Yeah, all it's doing is delaying and, frankly, in some way or another, probably costing us, we the people, the taxpayers, more money. And as you point out, the end is inevitable. So, all right, let's put that aside. Now, there are a lot of things the president's doing. And the most important things for the average person is to get gas prices down, get food prices down, and there are certain things that he's coming up with which the average person hasn't thought about, calling it the Gulf of America or the America Canal. There are a lot of things that are taking time, including, I don't doubt that there are people that are living in basements with tinfoil hats that really they think the true story of what happened in the assassinations of, well, all three, the big three, JFK, RFK, and Martin Luther King Jr., for him to then make this executive order to release the files. Is there really a hue and cry out there that I'm not aware of that people are begging for this?
I think that there is a small group of folks out there who have been clamoring for transparency on these assassinations. And I think you're right that we have really been drinking from a fire hose since noon on January 20th, right? Where they have got so many things going. And I just think it's been 4 years of pent up ideas of, hey, we should do this and we should do that. And boy, they are, coming out swinging on, in this first week. I think it's important for listeners to know that the executive order on the assassinations isn't going to immediately produce troves of information. It's an order that directs different agencies to come up with a plan to release these information, right? So it's to some extent more bureaucratic red tape, but for those looking for it, at least the process has begun.
You're a very bright man, Professor Dave Dulio, Director for the Center for Civic Engagement and Political Science at Oakland University. Is there a reason that anything regarding these 3 assassinations and any number of other things would not be healthy to release to the public?
Boy, I think that's going to be the fascinating thing about it is once these plans are developed and they come out, what's the rationale and for extended redactions or things that won't come out, right? And is the president going to be happy with that? I think that there's much more to come on this.
Fascinating, and you're the best. I wish I were in your class, but I don't miss not doing homework and getting grades. Just so you know.
Stop by anytime.
Not that I always did my homework or even got grades when I was in college, but be that as it may, thanks for the offer, Professor Dave Dulio, Director of the Center for Civic Engagement, Political Science at Oakland University. He is always a great resource for us. Thanks, Professor.
Thank you.
We continue in focus at 12:28 right here on WJR.